And today on Tottenham Talking, I am joined by Mark from the Spurs Express. And the question is, what does Spurs beating Arsenal change in terms of the club's future under Jose Mourinho? Mark,
Oof,
what can you tell me?
it's a great question. Thinking about it, it changes both absolutely everything and absolutely nothing.
Completely right,
Um,
yeah.
and I'll try and get into that, and I'll try and explain why I think that. I think in terms of it changing everything, this is the first real glimpse. That's maybe not the first because we saw it at Man City at home, but a real glimpse into what Jose Mourinho's team is going to look like going forward, what this Tottenham team is going to look like, its blueprint for success. It may not be the prettiest, but in terms of what you're going to get from Jose Mourinho and how this club may succeed and may be different to how it's been before, this is the blueprint for it. Yesterday was a prime example. We saw defending like lions. I'd call it. There was a real backs to the wall siege mentality. Of course, the Lacazette goal can't really stop. There was an error before that, but after that, it just felt. It really felt like a Mourinho team of old, where it was okay. We're going to play the low block. We're going to let you try and break us, and then at the right moments, we're going to pick our spots. That's exactly what we did. And in terms of the Spurs players buying into that, and us as a club buying into his philosophy and saying, "Okay, Jose, we're going to give you, we no pun there, we're going to give you time to to do it your way." I feel yesterday was a real insight into that. And I think Spurs fans started to see that. And that's why I think it was a big change. And I think the Spurs players really started to believe, and they will start to believe after yesterday, that, wow, okay, if we listen to this manager who's won it all, this is how it's done. So I think in that respect, it changes everything. Where I think it may change nothing is twofold. One is these players in the past, even under Jose Mourinho so far, but also with Mauricio Pochettino, have had these games where you think, hold on a second, the light's gone off. They finally realized this is how it's done and they're going to kick on. And then what happens over the next few weeks is they fall back. And we come back on the following week and talk about, how disappointing these players are. So that's the first thing. And I think it's linked to the second thing, which is can Mourinho get the players in that he wants to really change this? That's why I say it changes everything and nothing. Because if these players are going to fall back, some of them will and some of them won't after yesterday. But if the some that will stay at the club and the some that won't listen to his instructions are still at that club after the summer, then we're not going to get anywhere. But if Mourinho is given some resources to bring in the players who he likes and play the way that he did yesterday, then it will change everything. But if he doesn't, I'm afraid it might change nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to take it back a little bit because you talk about we haven't seen this kind of Jose Mourinho performance in a big game since Man City, the second game being Arsenal. And what I want to point out the differences between this and that game is, or even any other big game that Jose Mourinho has taken, whether it be the Leipzig game or the Chelsea game or the Man United game, in what we've been used to seeing Jose Mourinho in big games is that he throws a curveball out, he changes the formation, he does something that's unexpected to the opposition, which he did that against Arsenal, which we sprung that 4-4-2 formation, which nobody expected really. But in the other big games, we haven't really done that, and he hasn't really shown his kind of tactical nous in them, and he's kind of played the same kind of style of football, same formation, whereas this Arsenal game, I felt it was very different. And I felt that the first half, or definitely the first 20 minutes of that half, we actually tried to play football. We actually looked good on the ball. And I thought we tired out big time. And especially in that second half, we reverted back to backs against the wall, 11 men behind the ball. Do you feel that that first half an hour gives you hope going into next season that we're not going to be playing this kind of boring defensive football every week? Or do you feel it was pretty similar?
I think I think Mourinho said it. I think it's about a balance. He came to a club which was just leaking goals for fun. And I know we've had some good seasons with Pochettino, but as a club, historically, we're not known for our defensive capabilities. He's come into a club which just is full of a leaky defense. There's a leaky boat. He's trying to fix the leak essentially, and doing that will take a balance. And his first port of call, which I always thought was that he was going to do, was to address the defense. And if you look at our defending now, it's a lot better.
Mm.
I can see that. I know we're talking about Sheffield United, and it was a complete horror show. But on the whole, our defending has got a lot better as a team. And that is Mourinho. Now, sorry. Now, what he said um, to that is he has to get the right balance. He's been able to address some issues in defense, hasn't quite worked in attack, but it's about finding a balance. So I think he's aware of that. And I think, yes, our football will get better than say Bournemouth. I'm not sure it will get much better than yesterday, though, because for me, that was Mourinho. I thought we attacked well. We didn't attack all the time. We soaked up a lot of pressure. But when we did, we could have scored. It could have been 3 or 4 yesterday by the end, once we got the lead. And I think yesterday was nearly the right balance. I think, like I said, he's going to want to bring in his players. He's going to want to, bring in a defensive midfielder for sure, shore up the back line. I don't think the attack will be his main priority this summer. So I think he's just going to look to strike that balance. And with a more stable defense, he's going to be able to strike that balance in a better way. So yesterday was one step closer to finding a balance of how we play. It'd be interesting to see if we play the same way against Newcastle, if we play the 4-4-2, or if it was just to nullify the Arsenal threat. So that will be interesting.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because actually the night before the game, I was reading an article. I can't remember what website it was on, but they were talking about João Sacramento at Lille and George Campos and their formation at Lille, which was a 4-4-2 counter-attacking formation, which was basically taken from Jose Mourinho's original kind of system and kind of upgraded and brought into the kind of modern day era. And that exactly is what he tried to implement against Arsenal. And I was really excited when I saw him line up like that. But it was evident to see that we needed a centre mid in there. We needed a new right back in there because, Serge Aurier, I don't think he's suited to that system. And even if he is suited to that system, he's probably taken his course at Spurs. I know it's a terrible thing that happened to his brother today, by the way, and complete rest in peace to his brother. And our hearts go out to him and his family. But yeah, I don't really think Serge Aurier and maybe even Harry Winks are the answers to Tottenham in that central midfield and right back roles.
I think it will be a case of where they fit in the squad potentially. I don't see Harry Winks being let go this summer. I think he has a role to fill, especially within the Spurs squad next season. Definitely, whether he starts or not, I'm less convinced. He definitely does bring some qualities. There's no doubt about that. But in terms of the way Mourinho will want to play, he's going to want a real, traditional defensive midfielder there, and that's not Harry Winks. Serge Aurier, of course, we send all our condolences to Serge Aurier and his family. And with him, it's also a tricky situation because Mourinho's already expressed that he will be looking to bring in a right back. He said we don't have many options at right back. So he will be looking to bring in a right back. So it'll be interesting to see if that's to replace Serge Aurier, to compete with Serge Aurier. I look at Serge Aurier, and the reason why I think he may leave is because he still has some value in him as a player in terms of a sell-on fee, and the club will look to generate income for players this summer by selling some players on. And Aurier, to me, is someone who could still command a good transfer fee, and maybe I get maybe surplus, definitely in terms of the starting 11, but maybe surplus altogether to the squad Mourinho might find as he tries to balance incomings and outgoings and being able to use the outgoings to afford the players he wants. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation. I think one player who really surprised me yesterday, two players actually really stood out for me, Musa Sissoko and Lucas Moura on both flanks. I thought they both did a superb job. Yeah, superb job defending. It really was evident how much I think how important Musa Sissoko is in terms of a squad player. He can do so many jobs, whether it's to plug holes in that midfield or on that right wing. And maybe he's not going to be everyone's, everyone's cup of tea in terms of someone who's going to start every game. I don't even think for Mourinho he's going to be that. But it was so evident how important he is in terms of the squad. And Moura, I thought, was excellent. I thought it was his best game since Ajax away.
Yeah.
For me, I thought he did such a good job. He did exactly what Mourinho wanted. You can see why Mourinho likes him, and that was his best game. So maybe on the flank is a great position for Moura, and maybe when Mourinho decides to play this way, he's a great option too. So it definitely gives Mourinho maybe a few more ideas than he originally had, seeing that performance yesterday in terms of who to keep and who not.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I think where Arsenal's dangers lies over the last couple of games were their fullbacks in Kieran Tierney and Hector Bellerin. And I think that is exactly what Lucas Moura and Moussa Sissoko did. He kept them quiet. And that was exactly Jose Mourinho's instructions to a T, and they delivered it successfully. And I thought Moussa Sissoko, he was playing right back, he was playing right mid, he was playing centre mid. He was all over the park, Moussa Sissoko. I mean, it wasn't a performance full of quality, but he did the job that was needed to be done. And it was a big part of our win, I thought, from Sissoko.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole team, I think this is what we're going to get so frustrated about is, seeing that team performance yesterday and then going up to Newcastle and seeing what happens there. It's almost like you're expecting them to fall back again. You're expecting them to pull out a poor performance, and that's the frustrating thing, and that's very un-Jose Mourinho. And you're expecting the team to kick on, and history has told us that this team may not kick on, and that's what Mourinho is going to change. And he said that about mentality. After I believe it was after the Bournemouth game, he spoke about the mentality needing to change. And this is exactly a test of that against Newcastle.